Barbados calling in foreign expertise to help it fix the ongoing sewage overflows on the south coast. That's our top story in our Barbados Today morning news update for Wednesday, December the 6th. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. The Barbados government is calling in foreign expertise to help it get to the bottom of the ongoing sewage overflows along the south coast tourist belt, following yet another annoying sewage rupture that occurred Monday night, throwing residents in particular into a tailspin. Minister of Water Resource Management David Estwick revealed yesterday that the Inter-American Development Bank was one of the sources of assistance being sought.
We are looking to see how the IDB can assist us, and in the interregnum we are looking to see how one or two expert companies out of the United States, one in particular Illinois and California, and I was told this last night that we are also looking at a company out of Trinidad with some expertise in the particular area. And so I toured the sites and looked at it myself. It's a challenge, and so all I can do at this point in time is to work with our technical staff, work within the ambit of the BTI and the ministry, and try to find the solutions as quickly as possible.
However, Estwick is adamant that an ultra-modern sewage plant would provide a permanent solution by replacing the existing facility that had long outlived its usefulness.
You can imagine the number of hotels, restaurants, and other developments that would have occurred on the south coast post that plant being put in place in the 90s. It's significant. So that is a challenge that we have, and I sympathize with those persons who are affected. And I saw, as I said, I saw for myself what those challenges were, and I'm going to do everything that I can to try to rectify the problem and move aggressively to ask the cabinet to let us get on with the construction of a new facility.
For Health Minister John Boyce, the sewage which continues to flow onto the streets is a serious problem, and his department is also taking action to mitigate the fallout.
We've instructed the Ministry of Health and the Water Authority to maintain a presence. The Ministry of Health should be monitoring, making sure that any danger spots are identified, and we keep people away from those areas until they're properly cleaned up and secured. So that's what we're implying.
With the winter tourist season around the corner, Minister Richard Seeley has also been in discussion with the Barbados Water Authority, which is responsible for the management of the sewage plant.
The Water Authority has assured me that they're actively putting measures in place, getting the right advice to have it dealt with. Obviously, it's a problem, a serious problem, and it's being actively addressed. That's what I understand.
In other news now, the opposition has condemned this country's latest blacklisting as a tax haven by the European Union. Barbados was named in a new list of 17 global tax havens announced by the EU yesterday. But while Minister of International Business Donville Innes could not be reached for comment, his shadow counterpart in the opposition Barbados Labour Party, Kerry Simmons, was swift in describing the development as nothing short of totally scandalous. At the same time, though, Simmons highlighted the failure of the government to address offensive aspects of its fiscal regime over the past 10 years. A tax haven is a country which is not doing enough to crack down on offshore avoidance schemes. In sports now, West Indies captain Jason Holder has been suspended for one test and fined 60% of his match fee, and his teammates have been fined 30% of their match fees for maintaining a slow over rate during the innings defeat to New Zealand in the first test in Wellington. Holder had previously been found guilty of a minor over rate offense during the first test against Pakistan in April earlier this year. The offense for the Wellington test amounted to his second minor rate offense in a test within a 12-month period and resulted in his suspension. West Indies were found to be 3 overs short of their target after time allowances were taken into consideration.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back with news from the region now. A detective corporal and 24 people are behind bars in connection with a criminal gang that has obtained over $400 million in assets after wreaking havoc in 7 parishes across Jamaica. The Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Investigations Branch says it has dismantled the Uchence gang.
You name it, the Uchence gang has done it. Murders, shootings, robberies, rape in 7 parishes: St. Catherine, St. Andrew, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, Clarendon and Manchester. Obtaining 17 motor vehicles, including coaster and minibuses, 15 firearms, some of which were licensed.
Several household appliances estimated to be over $400 million.
Assistant Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey says the gang dates back to 2016 and is very organized, using tactics like that of a legitimate company, such as division of labor, assigning people to scout victims, cut a grill, drive the getaway vehicle, and even to shoot an individual.
In some instances, the victims are identified and selected by members of the gang who have been employees of some of the victims. They would stage their activities to incorporate inflicting minor injuries to their cronies during the robbery to avoid being linked to the crime, the proceeds of which will be shared among themselves, with the bigger portion going to the planner.
And when they do steal a motor vehicle, for example, it's scrapped.
They worked with a particular company, and I will not name it at this time, and significant portion of the stolen items were actually routed through that company and disposed of.
But since May 2017, the police have been hot on their trail, identifying 40 gang members.
And on the international scene, Arab leaders have warned the U.S. President Donald Trump that moving the American embassy in Israel to Jerusalem could have dangerous repercussions. Trump phoned several regional leaders on Tuesday to tell them he intended to move it from Tel Aviv.
It's a move many in the Middle East feared, but now President Trump appears to have decided to relocate the US embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. Trump is said to have told Mahmoud Abbas and Jordan's King Abdullah about his highly contentious decision, despite diplomatic warnings from Brussels.
The European Union supports the resumption of a meaningful peace process towards a two-state solution. We believe that any action that would undermine these efforts must absolutely be avoided. A way must be found through negotiations to resolve the status of Jerusalem as the future capital of both states, so that the aspiration of both parties can be fulfilled.
President Recep Tayyip Erdogan was far more emphatic, warning that Turkey could cut ties with Israel if the US formally recognizes Jerusalem as Israel's capital.
That's news and the sports, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.